Welcome to Channel Don't. Forget to subscribe and press the bell icon. Today we're diving into an exciting topic, how to create your own hacking tools in Python. We'll be taking you from absolute basics. Think of it like unboxing a brand new laptop for the first time, all the way to building your own custom tools. By the end of this video, you'll have the knowledge to write scripts, automate tasks, and understand how security vulnerabilities work. Stay tuned for a step-by-step guide that will keep you hooked. We're talking clear explanations, real-world examples, and maybe even a few "how did they do that" moments along the way. Let's get started. All right, let's kick things off with the star of the show, Python. Now, you might be wondering why Python. Well, picture this. You need a language that's powerful, versatile, and about as easy to pick up as, say, ordering a pizza online. Python checks all those boxes. Think of Python as the Swiss Army knife of programming languages. It can handle everything from web development to data analysis, and yeah, you guessed it, ethical hacking. Its clean syntax and massive library support make it a breeze to work with, even if you're a coding newbie. Speaking of libraries, Python has a ton of pre-built modules specifically designed for security testing and hacking. These modules are like cheat codes for ethical hackers, providing ready-made functions for network scanning, port analysis, and even exploiting vulnerabilities. One of the coolest things about Python is its readability. Seriously, Python code often looks like plain English, making it super easy to understand and modify. This is crucial when you're building hacking tools because you need your code to be clear and concise. And here's the kicker. Python has a massive and active community. That means tons of resources, tutorials, and support available online. So if you ever hit a roadblock, chances are someone out there has already faced and solved the same problem. In the world of ethical hacking, information is key, and Python's open source nature gives you access to a wealth of knowledge. So whether you're a seasoned security professional or just starting your ethical hacking journey, Python is the ultimate companion. Okay, now that we've covered why Python is the ultimate wingman for ethical hacking, let's get your system prepped for action. Don't worry, this isn't some crazy complicated setup process. First things first, you'll need to download Python itself. Head over to the official Python website and grab the latest version that's compatible with your operating system. The installation process is pretty straightforward, kind of like installing a new app on your phone. Once you've got Python up and running, it's time to introduce you to your new best friend, the IDE, or Integrated Development Environment. Think of it as your hacking command center, where you'll be writing, testing, and debugging your code. There are a bunch of great IDEs out there, but for this tutorial, we'll be using Mention Your Preferred IDE. It's free, user-friendly, and has some really cool features that'll make our lives easier. Plus, it plays well with Python, which is what we're all about. Now let's talk about libraries. Remember those pre-built modules we talked about earlier? Well, it's time to stock up on some essentials. We'll be using libraries like Requests for making HTTP requests, Beautiful Soup for parsing HTML, and Scapy for network manipulation. Installing these libraries is a piece of cake. We'll be using pip, Python's package installer. With Python, your IDE, and the essential libraries in place, you've basically built your own ethical hacking playground. But before we dive into writing actual hacking scripts, let's take a moment to talk about ethics. Always obtain proper authorization before testing systems or networks that you don't own. All right, it's time to put your newfound Python skills to the test and build your first hacking script. Don't worry, we're starting with something simple, kind of like learning a magic trick before you build a whole illusion show. For our first script, we're going to create a basic port scanner. Now, a port scanner is like a digital detective, knocking on different doors of a computer or network to see which ones are open and listening for connections. We'll be using the socket library in Python, which is built in, so no need to install anything extra. First things first, we'll need to define the target IP address. This is like the address on our detective's case file. You can use any IP address you have permission to scan, even your own router, if you want to see what's going on behind the scenes. Next, we'll define a range of ports to scan. Ports are like different communication channels on a computer, and each port number corresponds to a specific service. For example, port 80 is commonly used for web traffic. Now comes the fun part, writing the actual scanning logic. We'll use a for loop to iterate through each port in our specified range. For each port, we'll attempt to establish a connection using the socket library. If the connection is successful, it means the port is open and something is listening on the other end. And that's it. With just a few lines of Python code, we've created a functional port scanner. All right, now that you've dipped your toes into the world of Python hacking with that port scanner, it's time to crank things up a notch. Think of this chapter as unlocking the cheat codes for ethical hacking. We'll be exploring more advanced techniques and tools that can help you uncover vulnerabilities and strengthen your security posture. From web application hacking to network sniffing, we'll cover a range of topics that will take your skills to the next level. Let's start with web application hacking, one of the most common and potentially impactful areas of security testing. Python's versatility really shines here, with libraries like Requests and Beautiful Soup becoming your new best friends. Requests allows you to send HTTP requests to web servers, just like your browser does when you visit a website. You can manipulate headers, send post data, and even handle cookies, giving you granular control over your interactions with web applications. Beautiful Soup comes in handy when you need to parse HTML content. It's like having a digital scalpel that lets you extract specific data from web pages, such as usernames, passwords, or hidden form fields. Combining these libraries, you can build tools that automate tasks like brute-forcing login forms, spidering websites for vulnerabilities, and even exploiting cross-site scripting, XSS flaws. Moving on to network sniffing, Python provides powerful libraries like Scapy that allow you to capture, analyze, and even manipulate network traffic in real time. With Scapy, you can craft custom packets, inject them into the network, and observe the responses. But remember, with great power comes great responsibility. All right, you've built some awesome hacking tools with Python. You're practically a digital superhero at this point. But even superheroes need to make sure their gadgets are working properly. That's where testing and debugging come in. Think of it like this. You wouldn't want to go into battle with a buggy jetpack, right? The same goes for your hacking scripts. Thorough testing and debugging ensure that your tools are accurate, reliable, and won't crash at the worst possible moment. Testing your scripts is all about putting them through their paces in a controlled environment. Start by defining test cases that cover different scenarios and inputs. For example, if you're testing a port scanner, you'd want to test it against different IP addresses, port ranges, and network conditions. Python offers built-in tools like Unitest and PyTest that make it super easy to write and run automated tests. These tools allow you to define assertions, which are basically checks that verify whether your code is behaving as expected. Debugging is what you do when your code throws a tantrum and refuses to cooperate. It's the process of identifying and fixing errors or bugs in your code. Luckily, Python's clear syntax and helpful error messages make debugging relatively painless. Plus, most IDEs come with built-in debuggers that allow you to step through your code line by line, inspect variables, and pinpoint the source of the problem. One of the most effective debugging techniques is to use print statements strategically throughout your code. By printing out the values of variables at different stages of execution, you can trace the flow of your program and identify where things are going wrong. With practice and persistence, you'll become a bug-crushing master in no time. And there you have it. You've just taken a crash course in building your own hacking tools with Python. We've covered everything from the basics of Python to advanced techniques like web application hacking and network sniffing. Remember, the journey doesn't end here. The world of ethical hacking is constantly evolving, so keep experimenting, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible with Python. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more exciting content. Let us know in the comments what topics you'd like us to cover next.